My wife and I, we never fight about money. We never fight about our in-laws. We never fight about trust or loyalty. We've got all the big stuff figured out. But last night we almost ruined our entire evening over food. And before you start laughing, trust me, this isn't really about the food. It's about respect. It's about boundaries. It's about a pattern that I finally decided to break. And now I'm wondering if I'm the bad guy. Let me give you some context. We're both in our late 20s, working professionals with long days and even longer commutes. Most evenings, we're lucky if we get home before 7 p.m. So yeah, we eat out a lot. Maybe 2, sometimes 3 times a week. We live in a place with an incredible food scene, hundreds of different dishes. Every street corner has a new restaurant with something exciting. You'd think, after all this time, we'd be bored of it, but we're not. The problem isn't the food itself. The problem is how we order it. You see, my wife and I are complete opposites when it comes to ordering from a menu. I'm what you'd call the safe choice person. I stick to what I know, what I trust, what I'm certain my body won't reject. It's not that I'm a picky eater, it's that I'm a sensitive one. Certain strong smells can make me feel nauseous instantly. Weird textures can completely kill my appetite. One bad bite can literally ruin the entire meal for me, and sometimes the rest of the evening. My wife knows this. She's known about it since we first started dating. She, on the other hand, is the adventurer. She orders food by reading the names on the menu. Half the time, she has absolutely no idea what the dish even looks like. If it sounds interesting, if it has a cool name, she orders it. And hey, sometimes it works out. Sometimes she discovers an amazing new dish that we both end up loving. But most of the time, let's just say it's not great. It's either too spicy, too bland, or just plain weird. And this is where the problem always starts. When her food adventure inevitably turns out to be a disaster, after just 2 or 3 hesitant bites, she'll look over at my plate. She flashed that little smile of hers, and then she say those 5 little words. Let's just share, okay? In the beginning, I tried to be understanding. Of course I did. I'd hesitate for a second, but she'd insist, saying something like, come on, just a little. So, I'd give her half of my safe, delicious meal, the one I was really looking forward to, and I'd force myself to eat her failed experiment. Sometimes it would genuinely make me feel sick. Other times, I'd just lose my appetite completely and push the plate away. But I never complained. I never made a fuss. Because that's what marriage is, right? It's about compromise. It's about giving and taking. Except it wasn't really giving and taking. It was just me giving. This compromise kept happening. Again and again and again. Just last week, it happened 3 dinners in a row. 3 different restaurants. 3 times she ordered something completely unfamiliar. 3 times it tasted bad. And 3 times I ended up giving up half of my meal to salvage her dinner. She knew this was hard for me. She knew about my food sensitivities, but she asked anyway. Every single time. So, a few nights ago, something inside me just snapped. It wasn't loud. There was no anger, no yelling. It was just exhaustion. Pure emotional exhaustion. I looked at her and said, as calmly as I could, from now on, I'm not sharing my food. Whatever you order, you eat. Even if it's bad, it's your meal. She went completely quiet. She just looked down and said okay in this really low, soft voice. I honestly thought that was the end of it. I thought, okay, we've established a new rule, a boundary. We can move on. Until yesterday, we were at one of our regular spots. Same setup. She's looking at the menu, and I see that familiar spark in her eye. She orders something new again. I order my usual, the thing I always get there because I know it's perfect. The food arrives. Hers looks questionable. Mine looks fantastic. She takes 2 bites of her dish, stops, puts her fork down, and then she looks at my plate. She doesn't say anything this time, but she does that little familiar hand gesture, a little wiggle of her fingers toward my food, the universal sign for can I have some. I didn't raise my voice. I just looked her in the eye and said, no. We talked about this. Her face changed instantly. It was like a switch flipped. She didn't argue. She didn't try to insist. She just shut down. She picked up her fork and forced herself to eat the rest of her food, taking these tiny, joyless bites. She barely spoke another word for the rest of the meal. It was just this heavy, passive-aggressive silence hanging over the table. When we got home, she went straight to bed without even saying goodnight. And just like that, suddenly, I'm the bad guy. I'm the one who ruined dinner. I'm the selfish husband. So now I'm sitting here, replaying the whole night in my head, and I'm genuinely asking myself, did I do something wrong? Was I too harsh? Or did I finally set a boundary that should have existed a long, long time ago? Here's the part that really messes with my head. If this happened once in a while, I'd share without a second thought. If it was an occasional thing, I would absolutely adjust. But this wasn't occasional. This had become a predictable pattern. Her curiosity, my sacrifice. Over and over again, it became an expectation. I never ever stopped her from ordering what she wanted. I never mocked her choices when they turned out bad. I never said, I told you so. All I asked, eventually, was for her to not make me pay the price for her gamble. Don't make my dinner the consolation prize. She knows I struggle with food sensitivity. She's seen me get nauseous. She knows how rare it is for me to find a meal I can genuinely relax and enjoy from start to finish. And still, every single time her experiment failed, my plate became the default backup plan. Her fun and my comfort were not treated as equals. Her curiosity always won. And what hurts the most, what really gets me, is that this was never really about the food. It was about feeling completely and utterly taken for granted. It felt like my comfort, my needs, my feelings about the situation mattered less than her fleeting desire to try something new. It was as if my enjoyment of the meal was disposable. I love my wife, I really, truly do. We've built a wonderful life together. But I also believe that being married doesn't mean your personal boundaries just dissolve. It doesn't mean you stop being an individual with your own needs and limits. A partnership should be about respecting those limits, not constantly pushing them. So I have to ask you, the internet, because I'm genuinely at a loss here. Am I the asshole for finally refusing to share my food? Was it unfair of me to draw that line in the sand? Or is it actually fair to finally say, your choices are your own, please do not make me suffer the consequences of them? Because when I really think about it, I don't think I'm the one who ruined the dinner. I think I just stopped being willing to sacrifice my own happiness just to keep the peace. And maybe, just maybe, that's not a bad thing. Let me know what you think in the comments. I could really use some outside perspective on this. Thanks for listening.